are on our episode of Kitchen Scientist. We've got some semi-dingy sneakers and we've got some very dirty sneakers, right? We cleaned everything involving food out of this double kitchen sink, and I'm told that the right formula for sprucing up your sneakers is Blue Dawn and Barkeepers Friend Cleanser. Not any other cleanser. It's super cheap. It's $1.99 for a 21 ounce or 595 gram container. I'm not sure what the difference is between Dawn Platinum and Dawn Ultra, but Dawn is apparently something that they use to clean off wildlife when there's an oil spill. So let's get into it. These are my favorite nurse sneakers that don't have a logo. They're from a Portuguese brand named COS. I've had them for years, but the soles go yellow and then the band in the middle just ends up looking a mess. So I figured, let me try to do a little something to spruce them up so we don't have to put them in the bin or take them to Goodwill. Just a little dishwashing liquid and cleanser. Wetting our sponge. Let's squeeze on the Blue Dawn and then sprinkle on some of the Barkeeper's Friend and see what's what. Get that on a sponge, rub it together, see what we're working with. So, sneaker one. I don't have high hopes. I've cleaned these sneakers before, but they serve me well. They're pretty quiet and they always get approved by wardrobe. So if I can keep them functioning, I would like to. I just don't have much hope for this grayish band to turn white. Maybe what I can do after today is stick them out in the sunshine. I do have bleach. I don't know if I should get bleach on that area, but this is part of the struggle, right? Get this on, maybe do the other sneaker, see what happens. And I'm using, pretty good pressure, but this is what we do to keep our wardrobe in shape and ready to go so that we don't get caught lacking out in these streets. You never want to show up and have people force you to wear goofy sneakers that have no style and look kind of lame. A lot of design and a lot of, I don't know why they make sneakers with the ends that curl up on the toe and the heel. That to me, unless you're running, it just looks goofy. Maybe we'll add a little, this is our elegant little container for bleach. Get that on our sponge. Maybe work that into the fabric band across the sneaker. See if that does anything. I never know if bleach does anything but damage fabric. It doesn't seem to bring things white, at least to me. It does have an exciting smell that reminds me of, trips to the pool. But, our goal, and I'm also told that you can use a steamer to take any creasing out of sneakers, especially if you're using sneakers that may be, either a few years old or may have come to you secondhand. It's important to get them disinfected and get them looking right and make sure that they're going to fit the bill and do you honor if you're on camera, whether that's in a movie, TV show, or on a soap opera like General Hospital or Days of Our Lives. There's certainly a lot of procedural work out there in these streets, and we can anticipate wanting to be, this is our Air Force Ones. We got some spicy beans on them and some dirt from our community garden. We're just using our sponge to kind of remove any surface debris, and then we'll figure out if we need our Scotch-Brite sponge to really get in there and do some scrubbing. They're never going to be perfect, but we can at least get them to the point where it doesn't seem like we've been you know, living under the freeway or something like that. You know, that we don't look unkempt and like a mess. When things get messy, it's important to fix them up so that you don't arouse suspicion. You don't want people to have another reason to prejudge you when you walk in the grocery store or the bank. Certainly, things are getting tense all around Los Angeles. People are very concerned about, you know, safety and theft and what's going on and what people's motives are. You know, for my part, when I'm roaming around, I try not to look particularly upscale. I try to look, you know, kind of working class or even down on my luck because, you know, things are happening outside. And, you know, those things are pretty devastating. You just want to get from point A to point B and then get home. You don't want any problems, and you don't want people looking at you like you're an opportunity. You know, I see people outside in their halter tops and their Prada boots and their Montclair jackets and all that, and I don't think this is a good time or area to be flaunting or flossing. I think that you can, you know, just be low key. One of my favorite is an Asian gentleman who talked about, you know, the importance of looking downscale. Get the jeans that have a hole in them. You know, wear the shoes that are kind of a little worn out, right? You don't want anyone to be able to clock the fact that you're, never mind wealthy or have any cash on you. You just don't want people to even know you have a job. And it's not for any reason except, you know, safety, right? No one's coming. As we see, there's a whole discussion around, you know, public safety vis-a-vis the police, but, you know, your fellow citizen can be similarly challenging. You know, once meth gets hold of people, once people commit to earning a living outside of employment, you know, where their modus operandi is to sit on the sidewalk and block the sidewalk and smoke meth and, you know, go through people's cars and break into people's homes while they're home or on vacation. Once you get wind of that, you really can't be naive. You can't sort of stay talking or thinking like, you know, law enforcement or any other entity is going to step in and resolve the problem. It's really not going to happen. You know, you're kind of on your own. Certainly, one of my neighbors was confronted with a gentleman who then went on to murder that young woman that worked in a furniture store in Hollywood, right? He walked in, saw my neighbor, and then saw my neighbor's colleague, and he walked out. 20 minutes later, he moved on to the next person and committed a horrific crime, and there was a $250,000 reward for his capture, and they caught him over in Pasadena, just roaming around. Now, I haven't kept track of what's happened with that case, and, you know, there's all kinds of, like, smash and grab and, what do you call it, carjacking, thefts, and people running into high-end luxury goods stores and, you know, stealing the stuff. But it's, you know, people are, I don't know whether to call it desperate or is it organized crime. I would guess it's the latter, because, you know, property crimes can be a little random, but when you have an organized ring of, you know, 5 to 15 people that rush into a Louis Vuitton store in New York or in Atlanta or anywhere around Los Angeles, that seems to be a horse of a different, shall we say, a different breed, let's just say. It's not random. It's not like somebody who just had a jonesing for, you know, their drug habit and they all of a sudden decided to do something desperate. It's more like a ring that, you know, plots and plans and, like movies, looks at floor plans and goes and cases the joint, and you know, all that kind of stuff, whether it's pushing robberies or you know, just walking down the street. When I when I see people, I hate to laugh, but when I see people when I'm on my walk to do errands or whatever, and they're coming toward me and they're not wearing shoes, and we're in an urban area with glass and needles and whatnot and poop all over the floor, and they're not wearing shoes, and they're not concerned about not wearing shoes, women or men, that's when I move in the opposite direction. When people are heading toward me and the sun is going down and I'm looking and they're walking from their side of the street into the middle of the street toward me, I backtrack and go back to the Ave and I pick another street. You know, you gotta look alive. You can't have both earbuds in. You gotta focus and try to, you know, think about survival and not being easy pickings, because, you know, are things getting better? Are they getting worse? I'm gonna guess they're getting worse, but, you know, no matter. We still have to have our business in order and be able to move forward. You know, we've done a little improvement on our sneakers. I don't know if it's going to be worth engaging this particular brush that we use for the bathtub. So let's rinse our sponge, and maybe let's get, you know, since we're on camera, let's really go to town. We'll dampen this, and then we'll get our Dawn on there real thick, and then we'll sprinkle on some Barkeepers Friend. Rub that in. You know, I recommend wearing rubber gloves when you're, you know, getting involved with solvents, right? Want to make sure it's nice and moist, and, you know, give yourself a fighting chance to get your goods to really recover, to get the brightest white that you can, given how rubber has turned yellow over the years. But, you know, you can't, even a soiled quality sneaker, quality garment, there is no substitute. And people can tell, and the camera can tell, real leather versus plastic versus vinyl. You know, I love Target, but, you know, having sneakers from a high-end brand, it does read differently on camera. Just like, you know, good nutrition reads differently than, you know, people who don't eat or eat fast food, right? Like your skin, your hair, your nails do change when you provide the proper, you know, nutrients and water, and you're not just drinking canned and bottled drinks all day. Those are great. They taste great once in a while, but, you know, just like your grandma told you, the drudgery of fiber and roughage and vegetables will not do you wrong, right? You want to keep your stuff pristine. You want to keep yourself pristine. You want to enhance your looks with, you know, makeup and clothing and tailoring and everything that you can do to kind of optimize the look that you're going for. Whether you're supposed to be a trophy wife, a mom, a member of law enforcement, an FBI or CIA analyst, or just, you know, you want people to think that you're just your average street person who doesn't have any cash and isn't worth confronting for property, crime, or assault, right? That's the thing. There's so many people out on the street, you know, there's tourists, there's drug dealers, there's addicts, there's law enforcement, and you just want to get from point A to point B without Omarion and without problems. You want to get your food or your takeout order or whatever you need from the drugstore and slide back into safety behind closed doors without, you know, without having to like stress or fill out any police report. So you know, that's definitely better. I don't know how much improvement we can expect from both these pairs of sneakers, which are, you know, may have seen better days, but I wanted to demonstrate to you what I am told is the optimal combo for getting your sneakers on the road to recovery. And so now that we've applied the cleanser, Dawn, and bleach, we're just rinsing out our handy random sponge and just removing that product from the surface of the leather and of the rubber. You know, it might be a good idea just to leave the sneakers out in the sunshine if you can, in a window or on a balcony if you have access to one. I don't recommend leaving them on your doorstep because you might not see them again. That's, you know, that's the world we're living in. But I love an Air Force One. It's got a nice thick sole. So when you have to run for your life or when you have questions about the person approaching you, you really can make an efficient move to get out of their way. And you really can, you know, protect your knees while you're doing so. And you really do get that, you know, that swag of, you know, having like a hip sneaker on. It's not a cute sneaker. It's not a pink sneaker. It's not a girly sneaker. It's a sneaker that means business. And you want to be able to, you know, maneuver, carry stuff, move fast if you need to, you know, get through puddles and, you know, human feces. Let's be real. You want to, you know, step safely on any unanticipated needles or condoms or whatever you're encountering out in these streets. You know, Hollywood is a real place where people do real things, where people really do live in tents and in their cars, and they're very committed to having access to their drugs of choice. You know, drug addiction is a very serious mental and physical health problem, but we are not in control of our brothers. We cannot do anything more than suggest that they seek treatment. And if they're not ready to, what is the word? Admit that there's a problem, there's nothing that the rest of us can do except stay out of the way, right? We're just wiping down our cause sneakers and our counter. We're going to go in and disinfect once we're done with this process. But I just wanted to show you, you know, this is one of those tasks that you kind of have sitting there waiting for you as you do other stuff. You know, you do your makeup, you do your exercise, and then it gets to the point on the weekend where you're like, you know what? This is probably a good time for me to get this ready, because you never know when the call is going to come, when you're going to need your nurse sneakers. You're going to need your non-logo, elegant, upscale, you know, healthcare worker kit at the ready so that you can, you know, you can bring it. When that scene requires your talent and skill as an actor, you don't want anything in your wardrobe or your, you know, hair or anything else to suggest anything but realism, right? You want your performance to match the scale of, you know, whatever it is, whether it's theater or television or film. You want to be very clear about, you know, what medium it is, what size the screen is going to be, so that you can kind of calibrate your performance and see how big it should be, right? One of my friends keeps sort of doing too much on the television show. There's a lot of movement and arm waving and all of this, and so then the assistant directors come a running to correct that. And you know what, he's great, he's a real veteran, so he knows real law enforcement stuff. What he doesn't know, however, is, you know, necessarily acting for the small screen, but I believe he'll get there. And he has a great look, but you know, you never want to be the person that ruins the take. You never want to be the person with a visible logo. You never want to be the person where people are like, wow, those sneakers are dirty. So We try to use our time in the house, avoiding a Marion on the weekend to get our stuff ready and get our stuff clean and, you know, really participate in that cleaning ritual that is so important for body, mind, spirit, our collection of clothing, furniture, shoes, vehicles, etc., and keep everything, you know, in order and looking right so that when it's time and you hear the word action, that all elements are working together to create a harmonious, clean, effective portrayal of whatever it is that you're being asked to portray on screen that day. So, is this band whiter? Well, no. But is it cleaner? Sure. But I'm not sure it's ever going to brighten up, and maybe that's the best that we can do. Thank you for joining me on this segment of Kitchen Scientist. These are the products you need. If you have another suggestion of what else to add besides a little bleach to get the whites white again, please let me know. And I will see you on the next episode of Kitchen Scientist. Thanks.